G'day there guys, how can I face my problems if the problem is my face? Welcome back to another episode of r/am I the a-hole. It's your host Markee, I hope you enjoy today's content. Tell me what you think about it down in the comments below. Also, don't forget to smash that like button, I would love your face if you did it, because, you know, my face and all. Hope you guys enjoyed the stories, sit back, relax and enjoy. Thank you. Posted by user TurfGazum. Titled, Am I the a-hole for being upset that my son didn't tell me he is gay? So I have a 19-year-old son, Jack. I had him very young. Me and his mum married at 20. I was an alcoholic when Jack was growing up, and when he was 8, I had an affair with another woman and had another son, Darren. Me and Jack's mum got a divorce. This kind of forced me to sober up, and I've been sober for 11 years now. I moved about 6 hours away to raise Darren, and I married Darren's mother. Me and Jack's mum aren't on the best of terms, and I saw Jack a few times a year, although I would always send him money. I was up to visit Jack's uncle. We've always been buddies, and he asked me how Jack's boyfriend was doing. I asked him what he meant, and he just repeated that he saw some pictures of Jack and his boyfriend, and he was wondering how they were doing. I mumbled some excuse that they were fine and left shortly after. As soon as I got in my car, I called Jack. I told him what his uncle told me, and I was pretty upset that he thought he couldn't confide in me. Jack started to cry and basically started ranting about how I abandoned him and his mum when he was young, and how I've always preferred Darren to him, and that's why he didn't tell me because he feels like he doesn't matter to me. I tried to explain myself, and said that I understand that I've been a crappy father sometimes, but I love him and I don't care that he's gay. He told me that he didn't know if he was ever going to tell me because I'm an a-hole, and I have no right to get upset about not knowing something about him after I abandoned him so long ago. He then hung up on me. I haven't told my wife or Darren what's happened, and I don't want to until I've worked through all this and gained some perspectives on what's happened. So, am I the a-hole for getting upset? I think you are the a-hole for getting upset at your son. Coming out was his decision, and everyone works through these things differently, and it was his decision whether or not he told you and confided in you that he was gay. Obviously, he doesn't trust you or have confidence in you because you did in fact abandon him by moving 6 hours away. Judging by his reactions and your story that you've told us, you really haven't done enough to gain his trust or, give him the feeling that he hasn't been abandoned. There is just a lot going on under the surface here, and I can't blame him for the way he's feeling. So you are definitely the a-hole in this situation. You're the a-hole. You were a drunk when you were around him, then you left his mother and married the woman you had an affair with. Also just moved 6 hours away from him to raise your other child and be with the woman who he probably views as the reason you did all this. You also said you didn't see him much, but sent him money. Money could never replace a real father. Don't think I need to say any more here. Yeah, definitely major you're the a-hole here. How can he even expect his son to feel comfortable telling him something like that to him when he doesn't even have a relationship with him? Because OP is obviously selfish as hell. He's mad because he sees himself as entitled to that information instead of realizing that he hasn't earned his son's trust. I don't disagree in the slightest, aside from one detail. I didn't get the impression of being mad from this post. Maybe shame or dejection, which are well deserved, but not anger. But maybe that's just me not seeing it. Yeah, he never said anything bad about the son or even really defending his behavior, so I have to go with no a-holes here. The son is totally justified, as is OP, in being upset. So what now? Keep working on it. Be a better father starting today, and know the son doesn't owe you forgiveness. You're the a-hole. You are not entitled to that kind of personal information, especially from someone you barely raised. I agree. What he did was screwed up. How can you move so far away from your child just to raise another one? You should be ashamed of yourself. Don't forget the part where he quit drinking for the new kid too. He sent money and saw him once in a while. Clearly the kid should have personally drove 6 hours to his home to come out to him and his new family. Update. I have been doing a lot of reflection on my actions over the past month since my post, including taking into account all of the advice I was getting from my last post. I have decided to get therapy, which I probably should have done a long time ago, I acknowledge, and work on my issues so I can start to be the father to Jack that he deserves but never had. I reached out to him a few days ago to express this to him, and he said that while he appreciates that I'm trying, it's going to take him a long time to get over all the bullcrap that I put him through, but that he is willing to try. He is honestly such an amazing kid, and even though his mum and I don't get along at all, I will say that she did good in raising him. We have a plan to talk every other day on the phone, along with some in-person visits, and if he feels up to it, I would like to invite him and his boyfriend out for dinner sometime. I know I have a lot of work to do, but I'm trying to be a better man. That includes staying sober. Maybe even my 2 sons could be friends one day. I just wanted to update and say thanks. Well done, OP. I hope that you can rebuild your relationship. Me too. My dad wasn't around for my childhood. He was into drugs and went to jail just before I turned 5. He got out and turned his life around when I was 11, came back into my life. All this so I can say, you are doing the right thing. Your kid needs a dad, and yeah, it might be a bit rocky at first, but honestly, the best thing you can do for him is to show him that you are changing and you want to be a part of his life. It'll take a while and there might be a few setbacks, but you are human, so keep trying. Even at his age, he will appreciate being shown that his father loves him. From a 23 female with a crappy alcoholic dad who is now sober, remarried, and well off, I can tell you, thank you, for being understanding that he needs time. I cannot have an adult relationship with my father as he sees he did nothing wrong by moving on with his life and new family. Your son's feelings and abandonments are real and strong. They hurt and cut him every time he hears your name or thinks of you. You will never understand the pain of being alone and feeling like the one person who is supposed to have your back is never around and doesn't care to be. But I do believe with your efforts, it can be worked through. He needs time, love, and constant reassurance that you are there for him now and in the way he needs, not the way you think you should be. What could your dad do now to repair your relationship? Just engaging with you in conversation? Or is it beyond repair? Just curious. To be honest, at this point in life, I feel that our relationship is irreparable. I have consistently over the last 5 years reached out for help, and not been given the help I expected or needed at the time, just help that he thought would be helpful. My father is one of those people that doesn't like to give handouts. He believes anything he gives me I will never appreciate if I don't struggle and figure it out myself. Mind you, I grew up very poor with just my mum, so it's not like this is coming from a place of privilege or unappreciation. I'm sorry your dad just gives you struggle. My dad is an alcoholic. He never got clean, and our relationship is so strained and awkward. It's like when we interact, it's out of obligation. I never argue with him because it's honestly not worth it anyway. Posted by user Blazed Toucan. Titled, Am I the a-hole for kicking my brother out of my house because he was smoking weed? So I was an addict from the ages 17 to 19, and would have really bad episodes if I didn't get my fix. Once I turned 20 though, I was determined to turn my life around and went to rehab. My parents and siblings helped me through that, and I'm forever grateful to them for that. I am now 26 and 6 years clean. Haven't touched drugs or alcohol since I was 19 and plan on never doing so again. My brother is 23 and asked if he could stay at my place for a bit because his roommate moved in with his girl, and he said that he couldn't afford his apartment. I gladly say yes and let him live free, a way for me to thank him for being there for me when I was going through my addiction. I thought I was more than fair by the rules I had of no drugs or alcohol in the house whatsoever. If he wants to drink or smoke, do it at a friend's house and keep the living room and kitchen clean. Not super clean, but not a complete pigsty either. The first month or so was perfect, and we got along great for the first time he was here. The real problem started about month 2. Incident 1. He brought booze into my house and was drinking. He said he was sorry, and I forgave him because he never offered me any and convinced me that I was being too strict, so we agreed that he can drink as long as it's always in his room and never where I can see it. Incident 2. I was away on a business trip for a couple of days, and he throws a huge party at my house, like club-style parties, and the house is trashed. When I get back, the house is clean, but it reeks of pot, cigarettes, and alcohol. At this point, I'm pretty pissed and tell him he's on thin ice. Incident 3. This is the one that did it for me. I come home late at night, and there he is right on the living room couch, a bong in hand and smoking right in my living room. I'll admit I acted out of anger, but I gave him 3 chances. I grabbed the bong out of his hand and told him to get the F out of my house. Then he gets all angry and tells me I'm being overdramatic and I'm too strict. I feel super disrespected at this point and slam the bong right down on the floor. It shatters into pieces, and I tell him to pack his crap and get the F out. Late that night, I get a text from my sister asking why I kicked our brother out, and I tell her the full story. She is shocked, but told me that I shouldn't have kicked him out and we should talk it out. My brother was forced to move back in with our parents, and now he's not speaking to me. I decided to take my sister's advice and texted him last night, saying that I'm willing to talk this out when he feels ready. TLDR, I was an addict, and my brother who was living with me was smoking weed after I told him not to, and I kicked him out. So, am I the a-hole for kicking out my brother for smoking weed, even though he knows I was an addict? I feel like to someone that does drugs, they should know what the addiction feels like and how easily it pulls on you. So he, compared to the layman, should know more than ever how strong that addiction can be. And if he refuses to live by your rules and breaks it 3 times, in, egregious ways, that second one should have been him kicked out and never given a chance again. Wow. Just wow. I feel like you're kind of playing yourself here, OP. I feel like you shouldn't have given him that chance, and I don't know if you should reconcile with him. He doesn't seem genuinely sorry for any of the actions he's taken, and to me he kind of seems like a waste of space and time. You're not the a-hole for this situation. I think it was valid that you kicked him out. You set the rules and he broke them. Screw him. Not the a-hole? What the actual F is wrong with him? He knows your history, and he knows what this has to be doing to you. Putting those temptations in your path when you are going out of your way to do him a favor is a hugely a-hole-ish move. This isn't even about your rules, which you also aren't an a-hole about. This is about the type of person who does this to someone on the path of recovery. I don't even think it crossed his mind that I was an addict when he did all this crap. He's never been one to think before he does anything. Not the a-hole. If he could disrespect someone who was down to help him out, that's on him. Enjoy him not speaking to you. It sounds like he's doing you a favor. Edit to add, this might sound cold, but honestly he might have a problem if he can't abide by those simple rules. Above all else, you deserve to consider your health and sobriety first. Take care of yourself. It's sad though. I really do love that idiot, and I know me breaking his bong was uncalled for, but how many warnings do I need to give out before he listens? Not the a-hole. Your boundaries for your recovery need to be respected, especially in your own house. We live in California. Weed is legal here. He just has no self-control, and sadly, no one else in my family wants to teach him that disrespecting house rules will get you nowhere. If it's legal, then he should have no issue finding an appropriate place to go to. Personally, I found the longer you are sober, the more people seem to think you are cured. My family is definitely this way at times. I'm sorry that he's not as supportive as you need him to be. Sending lots of love. Update. I cannot believe it's been a month since I posted that. Me and my brother talked like a week after I posted that and had a heart-to-heart. I basically told him I love him, but I can't have him risk my health, so I said he couldn't stay with me anymore. I also said I want a formal apology if we are going to be good. He told me he isn't going to apologize, and so that was the end of the conversation. About last week, he called me and he wanted to talk again, which I agreed to. We had a real heart-to-heart after like 2 weeks of no contact, and he apologized for compromising my health, and I apologized for breaking his bong. He isn't allowed in my house, but we made up and are on good terms again. Edit, I left out the fact that I paid for his bong that I broke. Edit 2, I am a guy also, not a girl. It's good you two are on speaking terms again. Yeah, it was rocky there for a little bit, but then again, I didn't hate him for what he did, so it was more if he would forgive me. Well, I'm glad that he did. Him forgive you? He's an utter selfish a-hole if he can't see that it was his behavior that was out of line. Even if you were never an addict, you were doing him a favor by letting him stay there, and if you had a no smoking and drinking rule, he should have respected it or moved somewhere that he could indulge in those pastimes. I bet 100% your parents wouldn't put up with him lounging on their couch while using his bong. Alright man, I smoke weed every single day, and even I know this guy was completely out of line. Weed can be a good thing, but it can also be a destructive force to someone who has struggled with addiction. Sort of like someone who struggled with opioid addiction not wanting Vicodin in their home. Even though it can be helpful to some, it's toxic to others. She was completely justified in all of this. Alright, that's where I think I'm going to end today's episode, guys. As always, I really do hope you learned something or just really enjoyed the posts that were put up today. Quick shout out to all my new and existing Patreon and channel members. You should be able to see your name on screen right now, and if you don't, then I don't think you're part of the club, and you really should join the club because it's a great club. And I want to thank every single one of you guys for supporting me in this journey. It really means so much to me, and I love you all so much for it. Thank you for helping me out. As you can tell, I'm now happy and healthy back in Australia. Thank God it's not cold like Ireland. I don't like wearing jumpers everywhere. I prefer the heat. Thank you very much. I know that's an unpopular opinion. Anyway, guys, I really do hope you enjoyed today's episode. I'll see you in the next one. Have a good day, night, sleep, whatever you're up to, and I'll see you later. Bye.